What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today, I want to talk about why so many African Americans are moving back to America from Africa and why I think it is, right? I actually think it's pretty obvious. I think the reason why African Americans who moved to Africa and a lot of them are coming back is simply because they weren't prepared. It's just that simple. They were not prepared. Their enthusiasm and their love and the feelings and all the sprinkles and watercolors and all that stuff got ahead of their administrative responsibilities. So, because a lot of people told them that, hey, it's very cheap to live in Africa. It's very cheap. It's cheap. It's cheap. Take your money, come over here and do this, do that. Africa, we're calling you home. And people got so excited. People actually picked up and moved to Africa on their first visit. Some people went to Africa on one vacation, right? No matter what country it is they went to, and they went home, packed all that stuff, and moved, right? And the reason why I think that's a bad thing is because after the glitz and glamour is over, after the honeymoon phase is over, right? After the nostalgia is over, there's still the administrative stuff to take care of, right? You still have to understand the system. You still have to have money being generated, right? And you got some people that want to go to Africa and get a job, right? And unfortunately, at this moment in time, unless you have some sort of high-skilled discipline that is necessary and is lacking in some of these African countries, you going there to get a job might just be a dead mission, right? First, not only is it a bad idea to go there seeking a job, unless you, like I said, have a specialty, you will also be taken away from the locals who are also struggling to get their own jobs, right? You don't want to be like that, do you? So unless you're going there to create jobs, to start a business, then you wouldn't be an asset to the community. You would be a liability to the community at this point in time. There will be a point in time where people will be able to migrate to Africa for jobs. But that's probably about 10 to 20 years down the line. Once the initial repatriates, the initial on Diaspora that go back to build, and the initial, when the Continentals, who are gathering and forming and creating better governments and systems, once all that stuff starts to mature and the opportunity truly blossoms the way it's gone, I mean, it's on its way. It's happening. You can literally see it happening. It's just not there yet. So right now, those people who would love to move back to Africa, but it requires them to get a job and they don't have any specific skills, but they had a little bit of savings, those people are the ones who jumped out there, right? And they got to come back because they don't have enough money to survive. Because as cheap as it is to live over there, is not really that cheap. You still need money. You still got to have some sort of reoccurring income to pay your rent, to pay your daily, your daily bills, or your daily, whatever it is you got to do daily, right? Things can add up. And your savings, unless you have millions of dollars in your account, it's not going to cut it, right? So all I'm saying is the reason why people are leaving because they just left too soon. They didn't prepare properly, right? And that's always going to happen. I got a friend in Akiti, Nigeria, right? He's never been to America, never been anywhere, right? He owns all this property. He's got a bunch of land. He got some rental properties on there, but he wants to move, him and his family, to Canada. He's never been to Canada because he believes that Canada is this place where he's going to get all this opportunity. I tried to convince him otherwise, but sometimes when a person's mind is made up, it's made up. And he wants to jump ship and move to Canada. I happen to know that he's going to be setting himself up for failure because I can see it, right? He wants to leave a place where he has land that's appreciating. He has property that he's making money monthly. He wants to sell all of that, right? And move him and his family with his children to Canada, where he will be introduced to reoccurring monthly bills, reoccurring monthly water bill, electric bill, gas bill, rent, higher cell phone bills, reoccurring bills he's never even encountered before, and he's going to get trapped in a cycle, right? And he's going to either have to deal with it, or he's gonna have to jump ship and take his ass back home. So just like a lot of, when you got a lot of enthusiastic people going to Africa, you know, and they're going a little bit ahead of themselves, and they spend all their money and their hopes and dreams, and they make mistakes because they don't quite know the system, or the system not quite set up to be efficient, they end up having to come back. It's the same way with anybody, with any group of people that want to immigrate to another country. It's a tall order to immigrate to another country. You're talking about a completely different system. You're talking about a completely different system that you have to get used to and understand and learn all the little nuances in order to survive, in order to be able to get along, right? And that could be difficult for some people, all right? So I think that's why people, African Americans, are coming back to America from different countries in Africa. But I do believe most of these people will just regather themselves and they'll go back and try again, right? If you fail once, keep trying. Fail twice, keep trying. Fail 3 times, keep trying, especially if it's your passion. So, but slowly but surely, as the expat community gets bigger, as we start forming businesses around the services necessary to make it a smoother transition, you know, for us people to go back and forth from our motherland to the other places that we reside in, it'll be easier for people to go back and forth, right? And keep in mind, from America to Africa is 1 day away. It's one plane ticket. It's one plane ride away. So you can establish yourself in Africa while keeping yourself in America. Just remember, when you travel, just think about that day as a goner, right? Just like if you were to travel anywhere else in America, you just give up that 1 day. So you can magically teleport yourself to any place in the world, as long as you just give up 1 day of watching Netflix while waiting in line, a day of watching your favorite YouTube channels while sitting on the plane, just sitting there until you get to your destination. So don't think, I think in this day and age of information and rapid transit around the world, we have to stop thinking about these vast distances as an obstacle, when it's not. It's literally just a day away, just a day of entertainment away. Okay, so keep that in mind, and don't ever give up on your dreams of going to Africa if you want to. And take your time. You can take your time. You can take 5, 6, 10 years to go back and forth, setting things up, getting used to things, making connections until you're ready to fully make the jump permanently. Okay, so that's all I got to say for now, guys. Afro Think Tank, learn something, teach something. I'm out.